Hello and welcome back to game two of the series, but game one of the stream. So we are about to hop into Champ Select. I am Horf and I'm here with my amazing play-by-play caster, Flurfles. So as we're hopping into the Champ Select, how are you feeling about the events of the first game? Although we didn't get to see too much of the first game. We're about to hopefully see the entirety of the second game. But with the end game stats, how are you feeling about the last game that we saw the end game stats of?
Yeah, so to those just tuning in, game one was a bit of a clown fiesta, and we essentially got to see 30 seconds of total gameplay proof. What we did see was Waterloo dominating across the board. Every single roll was ahead in gold during the pause, and then we got to skip towards the end, and Waterloo was cleaning house. It appeared they had Soul Point with the Mountain Drakes on the map, and they were wrapping it up in a swift 25 minutes. So Windsor Lancers have opted for the red side here. We see Bard and Katarina and Lux bands banned away, actually. So more pocket picks not being brought out today.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Lux again, the one trick on Flogic is very comfortable on the Lux and definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially after the recent Lux buffs and also how strong she is with the first strike. Katarina banned away, also a comfort champion for Windsor's ADC. Camille banned away actually from Rice Boy in the top lane, most likely. And of course, the Rumble. Use Physics not going to be allowed to play like one of his most comfortable champions.
Yeah, the Rumble is to use Physics as Vlad is to Inexhaustive. You just cannot let these guys have these champs. But as with the nature of pocket picks, they are so valuable when it comes to these drafts. If you know that you always have one pick that you'll be able to integrate into essentially any team composition, like the Rumble, like the Vlad, it opens your team composition up so that the enemy team is forced to ban away all of those high priority picks just for you. So this opens up Inexhaustive to be put on the Vlad again if he wants, or use Physics to have a more optimal, favorable pick in the mid lane, or anywhere else can have that first pick with the help of the ban slot being taken away. So from the side of the Windsor Lancers, we have a Graves and a Jinx picked up. Jinx, of course, the arcane
got a little bit of an arcane buff this patch. Hopefully we're gonna see good team fighting comp just with that Graves and the Jinx. A lot of AoE damage, but Graves is definitely more close range. That could be a Graves top or a Graves jungle. Definitely flexible. Meanwhile, on the side of the Waterloo Warriors, we see a TF and a Talon locked in. The Twisted Fate probably going to over to use Physics in the mid lane, but that Talon jungle is something that we could see come out here. And it most likely is the Talon jungle. There's, only one place you could really put him with that TF locked in. So Talon jungle, Dark X already has that Ignite Smite ready on the Talon. Sai opting for the Blitzcrank here. Definitely a strong pick, especially into such an immobile ADC such as Jinx. Blitzcrank, you cannot pick him without seeing the other team's ADC because, for example, in the last game, they had Windsor had the Ezreal, and the Ezreal is just so hard for Blitzcrank to deal with. But meanwhile, with the Jinx, Blitzcrank can just walk up to her, and she has a decently hard time getting away from that Blitzcrank.
Yeah, with even with something like a Gale Force, it is super difficult in that early game for the Jinx to escape, as you mentioned. And Waterloo does this, so the fact that they don't actually have to give away their ADC pick yet, they've already countered, or they've already tried to counter the bot side of the Windsor Lancers with the Blitzcrank countering the ADC while not having to give away their full hand, actually. So I'd like to commend them for that effort there. Once again, we are seeing a lot of, well, the start of some ADC bans here. And I like the Morgana ban because essentially one of the only options for the Lancers was to counter the Blitzcrank with the Morgana with the spell shield and the lockdown from the bind. So with that band away, there's not a lot of options for the Lancers left to help protect the Jinx here in this composition. So the bot lane is going to be very volatile for the Lancers. If one misstep occurs, then it's essentially all over. And we do see the Vlad banned away from the Lancers. They saw an exhaustive Vlad. Unfortunately, we did not get to see that last game, but we can only assume he was a bit of a beast. And the Braum banned away as well. They don't want this bot lane going the way of the Lancers here.
For sure. Braum Morgana, strong counters to the Blitzcrank. Braum able to tank the Blitzcrank hook, especially with the shield. We actually see a Soraka hover here for the support for Windsor Lancers here. Soraka's locked in here. The Vayne, like, insta-lock the Vayne for Callum Coy. And the Yasuo hover for the top laner. Oh my gosh, Waterloo is whipping out there, like, little pocket picks, I guess. Callum Coy on the Vayne. We haven't seen him much on the Vayne, but I know that he is very confident on that champion. And, you know, an exhaustive on the Yasuo here, actually. I don't know if we've seen an exhaustive play Yasuo yet, so that's super exciting to see.
All right, and the last hovers for top here. We do have a set in the top lane for the Lancers, and oh boy, Waterloo is coming up to show here. We have a Yasuo Talon TF Vayne Blitzcrank. They are feeling confident. They are feeling flashy. They want to make up for game one. They know they need to make some more action here. So
this game's getting on stream, and they want to be super flashy with the Yasuo, the Talon, the Blitzcrank Vayne. This is very much a solo queue comp, but if the Warriors are able to pull this off, you know, so this is gonna be a super, like, exciting, action-packed game. On the side of the Windsor Lancers, we see a set, we see the Graves, definitely a lot of potential for a gank setup with set here, especially into the Yasuo. I believe that does counter Yasuo quite hard because, you know, Yasuo is eating into enemy minions, and then set is just like, yeah, I'll walk into your minion wave too and just eat you. So it is definitely set favorite in the top lane, but we could see how this goes. This could go either way. I'm really excited to see you know, how the top side works out here.
Yeah, and I do like that you mentioned the synergy for the Windsor Lancers. They don't opt for the solo queue team like the Warriors here. A lot of top jungle synergy with the easy quick ganks that you can get from Graves and Set. And then with the Twisted Fate, there's not a lot of direct mobility options. So once level 6 comes around, you can have Graves gang, Malzahar locks him down, and that should be a quick, easy kill. Where it might find to be a bit more difficult is towards that bot side. As we mentioned, Graves does not have a lot of lockdown potential. So unless you get something like the clap traps, the silence route, or I guess just the smoke screen, it's going to be difficult for any ganks to be headed towards this bot side for the Lancers. So I believe we may want to focus our attention towards that top side where this Graves is going to be roaming and where he's going to strike first. The Warriors, I feel like they can just I feel like what they're going for is a lot of lane domination. I don't think this Talon is going to be going for a lot of elaborate setups. It could just be spur of the moment type of action here. But when you have champions like a Vayne, a Yasuo, a Talon, these champions don't need the setup for them. As long as you can get those fights, get those kills, the rest just comes easy.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree that a lot of the action is going to be focused on the top side. Just the ball lane from the Windsor Lancers are forced to play so safe because Blitzcrank is able to just yoink that Soraka whenever he wants to here. So we could see like 3 separate games in this one game. You know, you have the top side of the map, and then mid lane you have a Malzahar versus a Twisted Fate. That's not exactly a very like volatile matchup. Like neither of them should be solo killing each other in this matchup. Like they will just be, you know, messing around and just like farming and just chilling and essentially trying to roam to other lanes. You know, Twisted Fate with his Destiny, he's able to just go wherever he wants on the map. Malzahar does opt for the teleport, is able to follow the Twisted Fate, but he still wants to go for those roams, maybe to the top side, maybe to the bot side. Malzahar is able to lock down the Vayne if he needs to, and he does have that passive spell shield in case Strength does decide to try to hook him.
Yeah, and it's like the chat is mentioning right now, there is a lot of solo gameplay possible. It's essentially, you could watch the replay files of each of these lanes here and see an entirely different story until eventually it all collides to make one big show. But yeah, a lot of the spotlight is going to be on these Waterloo players. Whether or not they're able to perform in these lanes could determine the game, but I'm just excited. I love volatility. I love action in these fights, and we are hopping in to the game here. Get your copy pastas out. Let's go Callum Coy. Let's go DarkX. Let's go Waterloo Warriors in the chat. I love to see some support for our boys in gold. And we're on the Rift. It's not a black screen.
Okay, we are in. Looks like we have actually loaded into the second game. Riot Games cooperating with us. So thankfully, we are able to go into the second game and actually witness the amazingness of the Waterloo Warriors team comp here, because they have such a solo queue comp. I'm excited to see what they can do. From the side of the Windsor Lancers, they recognize that the Yasuo is probably going to be alone. Like, nobody's going to be topside. The Blitzcrank is going to probably be invading their bot side, and they recognize this. So they are all going into the top side. Yasuo is all alone. We're going to see how this little invade turns out if they potentially do continue through with this.
Now we are seeing miscommunication from the Waterloo Warriors as well as the Lancers. Both teams know that something is up, but I think it's going to come down to the late invade here. Oh, actually, we are seeing a bit more roaming towards the river mid side. Okay, the Lancers might have been hoping for an inexhaustive cheese gank, but unfortunately, they will not be seeing any Yasuos walking into their bush today. So as the teams roam into lane, I would like to mention that unfortunately, while we are able to watch the game, I'm very grateful for that fact. We are unable to see things like the towers or the, I believe, the Rift Heralds.
And the gold differences. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, the number of dragons killed, number of barons killed, and also Rift Herald towers, just like you said. A lot of the objective counters are out due to preseason and Riot forgetting about spectator mode when they updated for preseason. So unfortunately, we won't be able to see that. Blitzcrank side Dasu is able to zone off the Jinx here. Does get to land that hook.
Let's get the early pull. There is a lot of potential just for chunking out here on young Tiller, but ultimately, with the help of the Soraka, there is a lot of sustain that Tiller will be able to have in lane. So it's going to come down to the all-in fights. You can't bank on Tiller to be that low and stay that low, but here comes the level 2 from Waterloo, looking to stack that third silver bolt, but unable to ultimately. Even gold from both sides as well. Inexhaustive having a bit of trouble here getting some CS in the top lane.
Definitely a harder matchup for Yasuo. You just saw that Set's able to zone Yasuo off the minions so hard, seeing as Yasuo does get countered by a lot of melee bruisers. So, inexhaustive, struggling a bit on the Yasuo, but we could still potentially see how he'll play out the rest of the game.
Yeah, of course, it's never too early. It's too early to discount out the Yasuo just based on the early performances here right now. We do interestingly see that DarkX opted for a blue side start, which means there will be some roaming towards both bot sides for each of the junglers. And while the lane is pushed in quite heavily right now for the side of the Waterloo Warriors, it's going towards their tower. DarkX is here. He does have double buff stacked as well as Graves, and I think both teams might be going for wide from side Desu, but it doesn't matter. DarkX wants to go for this fight anyways. Ignite down on the Brazilian Goku parkour over the wall, and the lame is on the run. He's already gotten the Scuttle Crab. maybe a bit of a whiff out of Waterloo, but they could still want to fight. We use physics. Don't have been betrayed. Not a lot of mana of logic.
Lots of action coming in here. Dark Axe walking into the mid lane. Not going to do much to the Malzahar. And Exhausted coming in for a little bit of a trade here, actually. Versus right point top lane. I think Side Desu actually missed the Blitzcrank because maybe he's trying to predict the Soraka flash. But Soraka, smart to hold her flash until she actually sees the hook come out. She saw that the hook went over the wall, so she's like, okay, I don't need to flash if I know it's not coming towards me. Dark X coming towards the top lane. Inexhaustive trying to push in the wave as fast as possible. Meanwhile, Lame is in the bot lane trying to...
Here comes the tumble over the clap traps and the teleport down from... It's used physics with the gold card, stacking it onto Brazilian Goku. They want the Soraka gone, but the stun against the wall means Graves is dead. Meet first blood over to Callum Coy. And that was a solid response to the gank here as well. Dark Axe able to clear out the Krugs.
Inexhaustive still setting up a very large mini wave for a potential dive, but, you know, Dark Axe unconcerned now. He knows that Graves has just died, and he's more concerned with clearing out the entire top side of Graves' jungle. So Graves is going to come back and be like, well, where's my Krug? Where are my Raptors? Where did everything go?
Yeah, I like that Dark X did opt to have the patience with Inexhaustive to not go for that risky dive. It's a set. With Flash, with everything available, you could easily give away a double kill. Instead, what Dark X opted to do was give absolutely no options for Lame in the top side, forcing him down to the Wolves Gromp that had just respawned here. And now Inexhaustive is going to have a much easier time to win, knowing the fact that he doesn't have to worry about a gank or any roaming potential from Lame here. So solid macro play from the Warriors, opting for the patient route.
Definitely a lot safer, especially than diving a set. Just as you a set is really easy to resist. But here we have a couple of trades coming up with Inexhaustive. He actually is able to dish out a little bit of damage onto the set. Blitzcrank does have Predator here, actually, so we could see a couple more Blitzcrank plays in the bot lane.
Oh, Inexhaustive. Here comes down the Haymaker and the Flash as well, followed by Rice Boy. A solid kill. Inexhaustive, you are too far up on the lane, buddy. Gotta show some respect to the boss. And that is a solid kill from Rice Boy. We might be seeing a bit more gank action from the lane. He doesn't have much to do aside from wait for Scuttlecrab to be up, so we do see the push over.
And up towards the mid lane, he has his eye on used physics. He's actually walking up here, but Dark X does spot Lane out.
Oh, here comes the hook, and here comes Young Tiller looking to take some damage. The Flash comes out. Can Calcoy get the last bolt?
Oh, so close. That exhaust, the heal, everything was just perfect for Young Tiller to live that last Silver Bolts cross there.
In the end, it's all right for the Waterloo Warriors in that trade. While they didn't have to expend any summoner spells, now the side of the Lancers are looking a lot weaker. And Exhausted taking a solid chunk out as well. Berserker's Greaves not enough to give you some tank action. Here comes the gank onto Flogic. The ultimate actually does come down, but the 3 cards go wide. Dark X forced to park the wall. And all is okay, but here comes another hook. Young Tiller with the condemn against the wall. It should be light work, but Soraka, Brazilian Goku, actually keeps him alive. The shock actually does hit Callum Coy. He's looking a little worse for wear right now, and Waterloo is forced onto their retreat. Desu taking free rocket hits here. And that might have been a little too ambitious with the help of the Soraka healing, but the action does not stop from Waterloo. Here comes the gank, here comes the teleport up from Used Physics onto Rice Boy. They don't want to get all that set action, so they actually opt out of it. And okay, a lot of potential here, but all around the map, no kills on the board. Still Waterloo favored in gold. But these waves are going to be crashing in from these gank and roam attempts.
Very close from both sides. Blitzcrank coming with a little hook on Soraka, not going to be able to kill her. Bot lane is a little bit of a Soraka gap right now because, you know, she's able to just press W on her Jinx and Jinx will not die. Vayne has not gotten any sort of healing reduction yet, neither is Blitzcrank, so we're not seeing any healing reduction to counteract that Soraka in the bot lane right now.
Yeah, we did mention that while Blitzcrank is a great counter to someone like the Jinx, and especially considering that they banned away the Morgana and the Braum, Soraka's healing right now is just so much that they have not been able to lock down these kills. Waterloo has had the momentum, but they just have not found the closeout shot on a lot of these skirmishes here. But what it has enabled them to do is get first move on things like these dragons, on first things like these roams from side Desu into the mid lane we're seeing here now. And these lanes are, it feels like they're all going to be coming to a head soon. A lot more kills will be seen on the board, hopefully. We promised some action, and we are hoping that our Waterloo Warriors, as well as the Lancers, do deliver, as the Cloud Drake is looking to be under fire right now.
Windsor Lancer is most likely able to close out this dragon. Blitzcrank here. You could see a little bit of a Blitzcrank hook shield potentially, but Zai's not going to look into that one. Kalimkoi currently freezing, or attempting to freeze in the bot lane. Like, he's actually going to put that out here. Young Tiller in a little bit of a crossfire here from the Vayne. Definitely a lot of damage dealt from the Vayne on the using the silver bolts.
And if we take a look at the gold that is up, we are seeing in most lanes that Waterloo is up just a decent chunk. Nothing crazy except for that top side where, of course, an exhaustive, such a difficult matchup. And with the solo kill from Rice Boy earlier, it is going to be a lot more difficult for him. Nothing substantial from either side, but micro leads coming out from each lane from Waterloo. They're looking to translate it into something else.
Side coming in with
the flash hook, and it is just lights out for Flogic. Side SU takes the kill, but that is simply light work for the Warriors there.
Predator Blitzcrank, he is a menace.
Here comes Dark X, and it's like as simple as that. All right, Dark X does solidly get it onto the lane here, and we are having some overlay discrepancies, which hopefully will be worked out soon. Nothing that you guys can't see, it is just on our end. So with the limited viewport that we do have, hopefully we will be able to hop back into game, or hop back into the direct view here. Oh, perfect, here we go.
A little bit of trading in the top side, and Exhaustive and Rice Boy just duking it out in the top lane. Not too much of a gold gap right now. About 200, 300 up for Rice Boy. And Exhaustive on the Yasuo, still, forced to play a little bit more passively now that he's learned his lesson of walking up against the set and getting a little bit too comfortable there in set space.
Yeah, we are seeing pings from Brazilian Goku that they are looking towards the Rift Herald. Of course, they were able to get the Cloud Dragon pretty sneakily and pretty uncontested off of the efforts of tracking Dark X's reset timings. They were able to capitalize on that, and while Dark X is here, he does have a bit of a bodyguard blocking him from getting into this Riverside. Kalimkoi forced to be on his own, but the advantage is that side Desu will be here in the lane. Here comes the Haymaker, but the suppression is coming down onto an Exhaustive. Pulled away. Willis Rice Boy is going to go for the dunk, but it is not going to be enough. It is Waterloo all the way around. Kalimkoi, you can sit, hold tight, and just wait for the rest of your team to do the work. It sucks in your lane right now, buddy, but you will be happy to know 6-1, as well as a Rift Herald. Waterloo is coming up aces after that fight.
Definitely. Bot lane is bot lane. Vayne, Jinx, and Soraka are just kind of chilling there. We saw Sai's roam timer and how well he is able to go and roam, and now he's actually back in the bot lane faster than Windsor could ever imagine. We're seeing the Predator Blitzcrank in action with, I cannot tell if those are Modi boots that are on steel caps. No, those are plated steel caps that are off of cooldown with the Predator.
Here comes the Everfrost with the gold card. You may have to miss it, but you'll still get the kill. Dark X on a killing spree, 303. We actually haven't seen him die yet. I don't know what the scoreline was in the last game. Use physics. Okay, that was close.
Dark X coming in for the red buff. He is not letting Lalame get this red buff, but Lalame is trying to contest this as fast as he can.
the 2-level difference right here. Dark X on a rampage. He's on a tear. He
on his way to the top lane now, just to scare Rice Boy a little bit, because Rice Boy does know that he is around.
Yeah, and it does take some of the pressure off of Inexhaustive here. He probably still wouldn't be able to win a 1v1 outright. So with the help of Dark X, Illish Rice Boy doesn't actually know if he backed or not, whether or not he's completely staying in a bush. So this does help relieve some of the pressure from Inexhaustive, especially knowing that Lele, he once again has not much to do towards the top side, sending back down bot, allowing Inexhaustive to just breathe, you know.
We actually see interesting itemization here from the Malzahar. Logic decides to opt for a Ludens rather than a Leandries, which usually Malzahars would go for. Usually Malzahars are looking for that dot damage.
We are seeing the Destiny come in, and it is all heads up for young Tiller. Take it out like clockwork. It's just as simple as gold card, Blitzcrank, you're dead. And yeah, Waterloo look to push their advances on the map. Dark X take the lead here. He is able to get out away from Brazilian Goku, and he is just behind enemy lines right here, completely in between the towers, making it look like nobody's business. But Inexhaustive once again, slam dunk on your head, buddy. Unfortunate for Inexhaustive there, but Rice Boy is keeping the Lancers' hope alive in this game. If any hope lies with him, it is with. If any hope lies for his team, it is with him here.
We see quite a bit of an interesting dynamic across the map, actually. On the bot side of the map, we see Waterloo dominating so hard. You know, he's also having some issues when running the set.
There's the pull into Brazilian Goku. All right, it looks like this dive should be coming underway soon. It's just a matter of waiting for the wave to come in. If you're the Lancers, you do not want these minions to reach the tower here, and they are trying their hardest to get in here. But Side Desu wants something different. The Condemn is coming down to the young Tiller, and they turn their eyes onto the lane. You can ultimate away, but it's not going to do a thing, buddy. Another 2 quick kills for the Warriors, 12-3 on the scoreboard. And this is looking like Waterloo dominates the flash. Oh my gosh,
Inexhaustive, he's angry.
Here comes the ultimate down. It is still a set, however, but Rice Boy is toast in the end there. The flash 2 is ultimately what is going to save Inexhaustive. And right now, Waterloo is pushing on all cylinders. They are able to get the dragon. All 3 lanes are pushing, and they're able to go for any reset they want. But Dark X might look for the Brazilian Goku gank. Here he comes. It's like Beerus right here. Destroyer God of the universe. Dark X is simply on a different level. 604 in this game right now.
Oh my gosh. Dark X not allowing any members of the Windsor Lancers to walk around their own jungle. Inexhaustive in this potential 1v2 situation here.
Inexhaustive is, of course, a Yasuo, but that is a Malzahar suppression, buddy. Oh boy, this Yasuo Inexhaustive has just seemed to not be able to find his footing in the game right here so far. He has had such a difficult laning phase. Of course, Rice Boy has been playing the set excellently well to, well, just very well against the Yasuo here, knowing that he is able to take these fights. And so far, a little over-ambitious, perhaps, looking at the scoreline from the Waterloo Warriors. Inexhaustive still trying to find his footing.
Here's Physics walking up into the river, potentially looking to scope out members of the Windsor Lancers. Dark X actually on the side of the Windsor Lancers jungle. Sai as well is looking and camping out a little bush there, just waiting for a potential victim to walk past.
Yeah, at this point in the game, the Lancers' red side jungler is not their own anymore. Oh boy, Side Desu decides he's not going to wait. He does go a bit wide on the hook, but it does give us the opportunity to mention that it is a Hextech Dragon. And if you've been feeling like you've seen a lot more of the Hextech and the Chemtech Dragons, I believe they actually upped the rate in the first few weeks of the patches here of the preseason. So you will be seeing a lot more Hextech maps. And what this is a result is Dark X has so many more roaming options. They are so behind enemy lines, they can just pop the abilities there. And it's so threatening from Side Desu. Once again, the Q does go a little bit wide, but in the end, you're just fishing in a barrel at a point.
Alan Koi does off the shield bow one as a mythic item for himself. You know, that he also picks up the Executioner's Calling, definitely able to stop Rocky Hill a little bit.
Oh, Callum Coy, that's the face of 4 people in the end. The flash does come out, actually, but the rockets from Jinx are surely going to be able to follow the Zap Connects. And here comes the last rocket, the teleport from Inexhaustive. Oh no, that might be a little too many people, buddy. I'm sorry, but perhaps just a little late on the other side of the map. Dark X inside Desu, making sure this crossplay does not go unanswered. The turret does fall in the end here. But nice plays for the Lancers, knowing that they're able to take such an opportunity.
Definitely. We see Waterloo does answer Inexhaustive and Callum Coy getting caught out in the bot lane with that top lane turret. So a lot of good macro decisions from Waterloo, despite the unfortunate teleport from Inexhaustive into the face of 4 enemies.
And use physics, it just feels like you don't even have to keep macro in mind right now. Just pick up anything you want, make sure waves are pushing, and look at Saidesu, see who he's pulling, and hit that person. It seems like the Waterloo Warriors game plan right now. Of course, it's a lot more sophisticated than that, as the Purple Worm does decide to show its face on the Rift here. Waterloo could be looking to clear out the vision here at the very least, or opt for a pick on to the Baron right now. Dark X has so much roaming potential that he can go absolutely anywhere on the map with the help of these Hex Gates, with his parkour, and hopefully with the Ghost Blade completed soon.
Yeah, we actually see Graves just go for that Youmuu's Ghost Blade instead of a bit more of a bruisery build. He is a little bit behind, so he's not going to be dishing out as much damage as he would hope to as a lethality Graves. But he is still able to do decent damage to use Fizz and Callum Coy, as they're not exactly the tankiest members of the team.
And once you see here, Waterloo is just going for the sneaky Baron, in the fact that I don't even believe the Lancers will be able to get this time. The Super Mega Death Rocket is a nice attempt, but it is a solid Baron Nashor going over to the side of Waterloo. We do see Destiny coming in, the gold card is dropped, and the spell shield is gone, and Flogic is running for the hills here. Side Destiny with the flash hook, but it does not connect. Oh boy, Waterloo is trying to look for their fight, but they cannot find it. Here comes the gold card landing onto Rice Boy, but it is not going to be followed up immediately. Side Destiny wants to go for the fight, and here comes the dunk. And Rice Boy is in the middle of everybody, but he can't pop his shield right away. And Dark X decides it is time to go into the fray. The Soraka Hill is coming down, but he is godlike. Here comes the onslaught from Callum Coy. It's a double kill for the onslaught of Shadows right now. She hunts them in darkness. And Callum Coy is making it look easier for continuing their pursuit into the base. And this actually could be the end here. There's only 2 members left of the Windsor Lancers, and they are pushing with a nice Baron wave. This could be it.
I don't know. Will Waterloo be able to end? Sai is so fast. Look at him go. Oh my gosh. The speediest Blitzcrank on the planet. Use physics. Gonna have to back off here. Looks like Young Killer and Brazilian Goku are able to defend their base decently enough. Hextech gates are there in case they do want to walk into their jungle, although it's not exactly the greatest choice here for them to do so.
Yeah, and all the while, pretty silently, Dark X off the back of that fantastic fight for Waterloo picks up just, another dragon for the Hextech dragon here. Now with over a 15,000 gold lead roughly, Waterloo Warriors is surely in the driver's seat right now, and it feels like only a matter of time before they are able to find these fights that will help to win them the game. And they just have such a solid strategy. Just wait for Saidesu to get the
Oh my gosh, Dark X in the mid lane by himself. He does not care. Look at him clearing those wards, getting those minions. Sai is there to back him up, so there are 2 members of the Waterloo Warriors in the mid lane versus 5 of the Windsor Lancers hiding in the bushes and further back down the lane.
Exactly. Just wait for Dark X to do something crazy. Wait for Saidesu to get that hook. And that's all you have to do. If you're Waterloo, you don't actually have to try and keep making these crazy plays to advance your lead. You just have to keep it at this point with over 15,000 gold lead, if my math serves me correct. It's just feeling very Waterloo dominant, very much oppressive from the side of Waterloo here. What do we think is the Lancers' path back into the game?
I don't know. This is really, really hard from the side of Windsor Lancers. They're down like 15,000 gold. It's going to be super hard for them to come back. I think their best bet really is to try to just work as a team to knock down this talent and get him shut down as fast as possible. And Exhaustive here, looking for the NATO, does not land. Size. Oh my gosh. The Sirac go try to go through the Hextech gate. Unfortunately, she did not make it through.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not barred portals. You do have to take a bit of time to channel them in. And here comes Saidesu. His hit rate for these hooks has not been entirely effective. But
that's okay. Zoning keys. You know, the Blitzcrank is just there to zone with his keys. Because if he throws out a Q and it makes them walk backwards, that works just as well done.
Alan decides he wants to go in the driver's seat, fight for the action.
Oh my god.
Flashes away from the hook, gets dunked on. Rice Boy is trying to make his team hopes alive, and this might actually be the fight that the Lancers need. Dark X decides no, he wants to be legendary, taking out the set, and now the Lancers are forced to be on the retreat here. It is a matter of time before these Nexus towers fall, and it is going to be tough for the team of the Lancers to make it in. Here comes the hook onto Brazilian Goku. The healing efforts are able to keep it. In fact, the shutdowns coming from Young Tiller are enough to keep the Warriors at bay, but an Exhaustive decides he wants more. Here he comes!
Has returned!
He's going on to Brazilian Goku. They are dropping like flies at the hands of Inexhausted. The spotlight is on him after all this time. But here comes the shield bow pop to use physics, just looking to land these gold cards in the fight. That could be what he needs. Dark X in the backline. He is yet to die. 905 on this Talon carry, and they are making it look easy. The first Nexus tower falls.
Set looking for something here. Rice Boy is not happy with what is going on in his own base. Dark X angry B emoting and running away.
Dark X says he has somewhere to be, honestly. Oh boy, so they were able to stave off the final efforts. No, the rocket!
The rocket did not land, or it did land, I
think it did land.
It did land, but not enough damage to kill off Dark X.
A valiant effort here, but Inexhausted up against Rice Boy. If you want to be on the retreat here, Dunk goes through. He doesn't have his flow, but it does.
Saidesu sprints in at the speed of sound to stop Rice Boy from killing his top laner.
Such a highlight for the team here. Immaculate Bane play, but stuck behind the claptrap. He wants to get the condemn, but here comes the cleanse away from the Malzahar suppressed reactions. There, it could have been devastating if he was not able to capitalize on that ability from the item here. But Saidesu solo actually flashes in to try and get onto Tiller, but the rocket is going to be able to shut him down. The Lancers might be able to continue the pursuit here, but the Windwall actually blocks the Graves ultimate, and Talonpoint is able to survive.
Inexhaustive going
the dash. He's going on to the lane, and it's a double kill. Going on to Brazilian Goku. The hopes of the Lancers, they are going to crumble. GGs are set in the chat, and the Nexus is right for the taking. Waterloo 27-10. Dark X 10-06 in this game, and making it look easy, and they are gonna take time to play with their food, but in the end, domination from the Warriors.
That was an insane game. Dark X played it so well on Sai as well is just everywhere around the map. Sai is extremely fast on the Blitzcrank, just able to catch up with his Talon, especially with the Hex Gates, and he's just able to go in and just run around the map.
Yeah, so it's like you say, Waterloo, they don't have to make any crazy plays. You just need Saidesu to get that hook. Even if some of them did go a bit wide, they were a bit zoning. You don't care in the end, as long as you do eventually get those hooks onto the critical picks and start off the team fights in an advantageous position. Hook onto Tiller, hook on to the Malzahar, and in the end, you will be able to win those fights. We did see Nice team fighting around the mid lanes, around that dragon pit area. And overall, just great work from the Warriors here. I believe they are undefeated in the OPSE.
They are. So, Waterloo, they're just continuing their domination across the OPSE. So hopefully next week, I'm not quite sure who they're playing next week. It might be Trent. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they are playing Trent next Monday as well at 8 p.m. So don't forget to tune in next week at this channel, UWindsor Esports. So make sure that you're here to support Waterloo if you want them to keep being undefeated, or if you're here from Windsor and you're not happy about the results of tonight, you can always come back and watch and cheer for the enemy team.
Yeah, in the end, we do love to thank all of our viewers. We do have word from the chat that we are playing Ontario Tech.
Okay, Ontario Tech. So we are excited to see that. Hopefully Ontario Tech does offer an amazing series as well as today. So today was crazy series. We're always excited to see what both sides can pull out.
Yeah, and with that, I believe we will have a short message from our lovely sponsors at Deliver. We wholeheartedly thank them for sponsoring our show, but we also appreciate you guys for tuning into the stream, and make sure you tune in next week for our best of 3 series against Ontario Tech. And yeah, have a great night, Warriors.
I'm Michael Karkaris. I'm one of the co-founders here at Deliver. Deliver is a fulfillment service for online merchants. So essentially merchants send inventory into the Deliver warehouse network. We store that inventory on behalf of the merchant, and then when orders come in for the merchant across the various different channels, we pick, pack, and ship those items to the buyer and deliver it on time. Buyers today expect items to be delivered fast and free and on time.
We see a very direct correlation between how fast a merchant is able to get their products to people's doorsteps and how much do they sell. We are ordering more and more things online. We expect them to show up faster and faster on our doorsteps.
I think today, free 2-day shipping is obviously the norm, but I see that going faster to 1-day into same-day shipping. We have an incredible team. They're super curious, amazing problem solvers. They come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Some people come from the technology space, other people come from the logistics space, and it's a really great melting pot of ideas at Deliver.
I like working at Deliver for a whole bunch of reasons. I love the team. I love getting to work with individuals in Toronto and Chicago.
Definitely a lot of work-life balance at Deliver. Everybody really respects the fact that we all have personal lives and, sometimes things happen, doctor's appointments, family things. It's all about communication and making sure that you're keeping everybody in the loop, and as long as you've got the work that you have to get done covered when you're not going to be around, or you're able to do it remotely the same way you would do it if you're in the office, then you're able to do that, and it's an awesome perk. I love being able to work from home when I can.
I would describe Deliver's team culture as ambitious and mutually supportive.
I think one thing that Deliver enjoys is having their employees feel comfortable at work. And if you're stressed and if you're tired, you're not going to be able to produce good work.
It's really easy for me to go talk to the people in engineering or to kind of our leadership on the growth team.
One of the problems we're solving is the placement problem, trying to figure out where we should put our items.
You have all these products spread all over the country. Figure out the cheapest way to get these to the final customers or order them. When you don't know where the orders are going to come from, and the orders can come in weird patterns.
And small changes in how we make these decisions results in $1 million savings for the company.
The Deliver model is unique in that we don't own any of the underlying assets. So we've basically assembled an Uber-like network of warehouses where we leverage excess space in these warehouses across the country.
There's a lot of research and development that has to be done to figure out the best algorithms and methods that we should be using for our workflow and for our placement.
Everyone from the CEO down to the most entry-level people, they really want to know what does the data say, and they have a lot of tools to get to that. So we know exactly when a package is going to get from a certain warehouse to a certain zip code, and that's the kind of power that none of our customers ever could do on their own.
As we've launched this Deliver journey, it's been truly rewarding to see businesses do something that they could never do before.